And we are live. Welcome everyone to this special episode of ChatGDG. We are actually live from Berlin. We are at the GDG Summit, and we are with a very special guest, Michela.
Hi everyone, super happy to be here. It's my first time, so I'm super excited.
Nice one. So both Michela and I, along with like 400 people in total, we are attending the GDG Summit, which is part of the GDG IO Connect in Berlin this year. And yeah, pretty much it's all about community, right?
Exactly. That's amazing.
That's amazing. So, would you like to give a brief introduction of yourself for the audience?
Well, I'm Michela Bertaina, head of community in CodeMotion, a community of 250,000 developers, mostly in Italy and Spain, but also in Europe. I'm a GDG leads in Bari. Previously, I was organizer also in Torino and Trento, so I was organizing 3 GDG at the same time. I really love everything related to communities, and I led also other communities about like Flutter, Angular, and also a community of community managers. So community is my life.
Wow. Okay. So first, I'm really glad for that you're here because, as you said, like community is your life. We are in a community event, so I think you are the perfect guest for this special episode. But can you tell us how did you start? Like when was that moment in time where you actually thought, this can be my life?
Well, you need to know that I started working in agriculture field. So I was working in organic and biodynamic agriculture field. I had my own company for 5 years and a half. And then I discovered Google Developer Groups. So I attended my first DroidCon, and there I met a lot of GDG leads, where they explained me a lot of stuff like the Women Take Makers program. And so they pushed me so much to go to this new summit. It was 2018, and it was my first conference ever, and I was super shy. So I didn't talk with anybody. It was super hard for me to interact, especially with male, because I come from a really little town in Italy, and there is this kind of way of behavior that female needs to stay away from male. And I was in a conference where there were almost no female.
Old school, a little bit old school.
Exactly. So this community really helped me a lot to push me out of my boundaries and my biases about several stuff. And so I started joining events, and after joining the WTM Summit in Madrid in 2018, Mike, the lead of GDG Bari, asked me, Michela, did you learn something meaningful there? I was like, yes, I attended a workshop about imposter syndrome. It was amazing. I didn't know what was imposter syndrome before, and so I was super excited. And he told me, Michela, you need to share this in our community. I was like, Mike, it's almost just 3 months that I'm in this community. I don't know what does it mean exactly to do public speaking. His answer was, you're writing the agenda. I was like, okay, my first DEFES. And so everything started.
Wow, very interesting. So first, what we learned that thanks to the community, now, of course, you have a job, that's your life, but you also grew on your personal life, right?
Of course.
And that's, I think, is very important, very interesting. Like people oftentimes, they think I'm joining a community because I want to get perhaps something technical, which is fine. There are plenty of tech talks, and that can clearly allow you to grow as a professional. But there are so many things that actually helps you to grow as a person. As you said, now, knowing you now, you are outspoken, outgoing, you talk to a million people. So I can't imagine you to be that shy little girl 6-7 years back. So you really grew, a lot thanks to the community.
That's it. And the most powerful thing being part of a community is the help, the people believe in you more than what you believe in yourself. So it's wonderful when you see people that say, yes, you can do it, because I was new. I was like, I'm still not I'm not still a developer, so I didn't understand anything about coding or tech stuff, but just I wanted to help like with communication stuff, organization, and all this kind of stuff, and just it was enough, you know. So. And I didn't know that community management could be a work as well. So.
That's a really great point because, you know, once again, oftentimes people are misunderstood that you have to be technical. If you're not technical, you cannot be part of the community, which can be further from the truth. There are quite a few people, there are like the likes of yourself, not necessarily technical, but you can learn and you can help in different ways. That's, I think, is a very important point. So people, you know, perhaps they can be shy. I'm not going to that, event because it's technical. I'm not, so I don't belong there, which is false because you actually do. You actually do, and you can make a difference.
You know what community builder just want? People that has passion and people that want to learn. This is the only skill we can say that people want to join a community. So if you want to learn, if you want to challenge yourself, if you want to really go out and explore everything that's around you and that can be useful for you, you can join a community. And for me, tech communities are, of course, the best one.
Yeah, there are, a lot of fun. There are a lot of fun. So we are here. Like, what are your thoughts of like this specific conference, GDG Summit Berlin 2025?
Well, it's my first GDG Summit because the last one was in 2019 and I couldn't attend. So for me, this kind of summit is amazing. I attended the one in San Francisco in 2019.
Wow, nice.
It was the global one. And for me, it was a really great experience to share experiences with other GDG leads, understand the pain, how they solved some problems, and also how they keep engaged the community, you know? So share stories is the best and the powerful tool that we can have to learn something more.
Yeah, 100%. This is my second because I've been in the one in Lisbon, which was a lot of fun as well. So right now, I think we said it previously. We are like 400 people here. Yeah. It's like from EMEA, so Europe, Africa, and Middle East as well. So it's like a good bunch, a good mix of people, all faces, familiar faces, new friends. You always make new friends when you start joining a conference. There are like a lot of different tracks, technical tracks, community tracks. So, once again, a really good and healthy mixed. So I think so far, from my point of view, it's been a very successful, event.
Absolutely. And the funny stuff is that even if you see people because I attended the Google I/O Connect that will be tomorrow in the previous years here in Berlin and Amsterdam. And the funny stuff is that maybe you see some people just once a year, but the feeling when you connect with these people just for a couple of days, it's always being in touch, even if maybe you don't text each other, even if you don't see in other conferences or events, and you meet just once a year. And this kind of sensation, for me, is really wonderful.
Yeah, it's very, very special. It's something that you can't, I think, get it somewhere else. I just met like an hour back someone that I met in Singapore, a conference in Singapore 1.5 year back. It's like, it's so good to see you here. You know what I mean? Maybe I might see this person in 2 or 3 years' time, but that's fine. That's not a problem. It's always a really good like feeling, which is great. So getting back for a second to your story, right? Like, how many events now like did you run professionally?
Well, at the moment, I run 3 big conferences in Rome, Milan, and Madrid.
Okay.
Last conference, the biggest one, had 2,700 developers.
Wow, big one.
Yeah,
really
2 days, 10 tracks, parallel. It was in Milan. And next one will be again in Milan. And we would like to reach 4,000 developers. So let's see if we'll make it.
Wow, that's impressive. But when you work with such scale, because we are talking about when you go into the thousands, is an interesting scale, right? What are the biggest challenges that you think that you face as organizers? Because when people attend these conferences, perhaps they don't realize how difficult and challenging can be, get things done and create the event.
First of all, of course, budget. Budget is always a big pain.
A big pain, yeah.
But of course, if you do it professionally, you have dedicated resources and people that do that. But everything that's behind logistic stuff, like speakers that maybe don't show up the day of the conference, the possibility to fail, we can say, is higher, because when you need to manage just 8 speakers for one day track, it's one thing. You can take care of each of them more or less in the same way. When you have to manage hundreds of speakers, this can start to be more hard. And this is with this one, with partners, with community activities. You have more variables that start to interact with each other and start to be a little bit more complicated.
How do you usually deal with those kind of situations? Do you already have a plan B, or you sometimes need to improvise?
Well, in the last previous conferences in Madrid, I was the plan B.
Okay. So that's it.
The content manager said, okay, there is no speaker. I said, okay, I have a ready talk, I can give it. So I was the plan B. But normally we have our ambassador program. So we have our ambassador that they know, and they always have ready talks, and they are expert, of course. So we just say, hey, you can
just
be
in case you can chip in.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Or there are a lot of also contributors, and we know the people that are invited to the conference, to the people that we can count on and that are ready to go on the stage in 15 minutes.
Okay, interesting. What do you think has been the biggest challenge that you had to face? There was maybe a specific conference where something, quote unquote, really bad happened?
Well, in my previous job, there was a speaker. We pay a lot of attention about diversity and inclusion. Okay. And so I normally reviewed slides and all this kind of stuff. But speakers do slides last minute.
Yeah, last minute,
Okay.
and then they change them. It's a little bit complicated, yeah.
So there was this speaker to this conference, and he made some not funny...
Controversial jokes.
Exactly. So something exploded on Twitter and all this kind of stuff.
Wow.
So it was a little bit hard to manage, so we made an article on our blog. We shared with all our attendees that we believe in some values, and we try to do, and all the actions that we want to do from now on to be sure that these kind of things would not happen.
Yeah, the most important thing, even if there is something like that you learn from these mistakes or for these things in order to not having them happen in the future. So it's a constant learning. It's a constant way of growing, I guess.
It's always hard, because even if you this company was doing conferences for 20 years, so never happened.
Never happened.
But sometimes you had to manage this situation that explode in just seconds. But
there's
learn.
always a first.
Yes.
And that's why you are not prepared, because it's never happened before, but now happened, and you can,
And after that moment, I for instance, review the slides, asking speaker the slides. A lot of speakers ask me, but why? I do the stuff in a kind of way. I don't know. I'm sure but I did experience once. So from now on, if you want to work with me, it's in this way,
Better safe than sorry, like how people say.
Yes.
Let's do a little shout out, because I know there is something that you really care about. So what you're trying to do, you're trying to organize an event at your little village that you were born.
Yes.
What's the name? Can you?
Cisone Summer Camp.
Cisone Summer Camp.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a couple of minutes what will be that about?
I always, I cannot speak about tech stuff. So my hook to network with people is talking about my little town. Because, when you ask people, where are you from? You would normally say the biggest city close to yours.
Yeah.
But I started just saying, I'm from Chisone, my real town. And people asking, where is Chisone? So I started to make like a storytelling. And when I started saying, we have just 82 inhabitants there, people were...
82, 82. Just to be sure that. So it's not a big town, for sure.
So people were starting to look at me like, you're coming from a town from 82 inhabitants where there's no public transport, where there's no internet or Wi-Fi and this kind of stuff. How did you make it to speak in front of 1,000 of people?
That's a really good point, actually. That's a really good point.
So I started talking about this Chisone in GDGs, all my Dev Fest and this kind of stuff. So there was this kind of hype last year happened that during the 1st of April, all the speakers, the biggest speaker in Italy, I opened LinkedIn, and there was people tagging me and saying, I'm a DevFest Chisone, I'm so proud to be here.
April Fool.
Yes. I was like, what's happening? I don't understand. And then at during lunch, I entered in a Telegram group, speaker at DevFest Chisone. I was like, okay. So there was 30 people there, and they were making these jokes. So it was funny, of course. And so, this year I made it to make an alpha of these, because I would like to organize a conference there, but we have not the building ready yet.
It's a little bit of a proof of concept,
right? Exactly. So it will be 1 week when you can work there the last week of August, so from 23rd to the 31 of August, where you can work the entire week if you want, or you can do several activities with us, like horse riding, or go-kart, or bowling, or swimming pool, or trekking, e-bike tours, wine tasting. We have so many activities. The goal is to create a real deep community and connect to each other, sharing stories, experiences, not only related about tech, but it's more about really connection.
So mixing and matching, right? So you can maybe get there, work for a few hours, and then get hooked into one of these activities. It's like going back to the roots.
Exactly. Really connect.
Try to merge these two words. Interesting.
Connect with yourself, because of course we are in the nature, and for me, it's amazing, but also connect with others. And spending time together with people, it's impossible not to connect deeply. And this is what I've learned also, when there are conferences of a couple of days or 3 days, you spend 3 days together, and as we said, you see in 1 year, it's as we met yesterday. So this is the sensation that I want to make experience to the others as well.
Okay, so hopefully next podcast for the next year Google I/O, maybe we will be talking about how did it go, right?
Not?
Okay, that can be interesting. Speaking of not the conferences that you organize, but perhaps the conference that you attended, is there a specific one that really stand out, that really caught your attention, like, oh wow, this conference is so good? Can be anything.
You mean like an attendee as a speaker, or both?
Attendee, just conference that you show up there and you say, wow, this is so much better than I thought it would be. And maybe you just learn something from it.
Well, of course, DevFest. I cannot say other conferences. Each DevFest really brings each local community and external community together, and I think it's really, you really feel like to be in a family. But I would say also PyCon Florence. I was there in the first year in 2022. It was my first year, and I didn't know the PyCon community before, so I didn't know anybody, but I really felt part of the community just in couple of hours. Sure, I was not so shy at the moment. I started to be more extrovert, but it's really nice to feel part of something, even if you are not.
100%. That happened to me last year when I attended DevFest Nantes. DevFest Nantes is, I think, is the biggest, one of the biggest in Europe. That was absolutely an outstanding experience for me. They had 3,000 people. It was like really, really curated to the very small details, massive scales, so much fun. That was like my jam. So hopefully, I'm sure that this year I'm going to attend again. Also because I've got a really good relationship with the organizers that I say hi to. So yeah, that for me was the first. Now, hopefully this year you can come along as well, because I know that your conference is a couple of days prior, and then Nantes, so we can maybe go to your conference and then directly fly over to Nantes. That can be interesting.
I've done before this kind of stuff, so it's possible.
That's actually another question, because now that you work in the world of conferences, you have to travel, quite a lot, right?
Well, in reality, for work, not so much. Like, Rome, Milan, and Madrid, but, I can go in Madrid 3 times a year, and Milan and Rome, but it's not. I don't travel normally for work. I organize also meetups all around Italy, but they are more like spot stuff. I travel a lot because I love public speaking at conferences about soft skills. But now I'm trying to lower
slow down
the number of trips, because I'm really like a ping pong ball sometimes. So it's wonderful, it's amazing, I love it, but I need to breathe sometimes.
No, I know it's a lot of fun, but it's also exhausting at times, because you travel and then you go to conference. I mean, going to conference it drains you a bit, because it's so exciting. But then you are tired, physically, mentally, because it's like so many, emotions at once. So I totally get that. So it's good, but then you need to pace it out.
And living in a town, a little village like Chisone, really helped me in this way, because I have the possibility to digest everything that happened in my life, and because I'm in the middle of nowhere, so I really can disconnect, think about myself, and get away from people and
going
all these
back to
amazing
different realities. So you are almost living 2 different lives.
Yeah, that's so.
The very quiet, not that many people in your hometown, and then you go to these conferences, thousands of people, many very, very new things happening. So it's interesting.
That's a balance. This is my balance, at least for now.
Okay, very interesting. Something that you are really excited for about tomorrow conference is going to be the IO Connect. Tomorrow is going to be, I think, 1,000 people or something like that.
Yeah. For me, attending events, the best part is always networking. First, because I'm almost not able to understand talks, but the real reason is because I have the possibility to really connect, understand the stories that are behind some job roles, or how they manage to solve some situation. At the PyCon, for instance, last year, a couple of years ago, I had a struggle to manage one of my team members. She was really at the very beginning of her career, and she was super junior. So I had some difficulties. So I have started to ask each of the people that I met there that were managing teams, also working in big companies, how do they face these kind of problems? And also opening like Asana and say, okay, I've written this task. What's wrong with it? Like, can you help me? And saying, what can I do better to
improve?
To improve. And for me, were like 3 days of consultancy, we can say, really super powerful, because I learned so much. So each time I go to a conference, I always focus on which are the challenges that I'm facing at work or in my personal life, in my growth in the moment, and try to ask this kind of question to the person. Like at the DevRel team, normally I always ask how they measure the impact of their activities, because DevRel and community management has more or less the same difficulties. So about like KPIs and this kind of stuff. So it doesn't matter if you are a DevRel in super technical stuff. We there is always a kind of intersection and something where I can learn about and the others.
Very interesting. All right, I think we are pretty much wrapping this up. So I want to give a big shout out to a couple of groups. Of course, my group, GDG Cloud London, our sister group, GDG London, and all the Italians groups. So let's do GDG Italy, just to be inclusive and include everyone. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for being with me, this special episode of ChatGDG. Thank you, Michela. Thank you, everyone, and see you at the next time.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Cheers.